and welcome to the very first episode of Yeah, We Read It. My name is Laura Petro, and I am one of your hosts.
And my name is Maggie Gates, and I'm your other host.
And this is the podcast where we, as best friends, are rereading books from our childhood, and reliving some memories and reliving some thoughts and feelings we had while reading them at 20-something years old.
Yeah, it is crazy. I keep having dreams of my youth, too, with it, and it's a nightmare.
So the way this is going to work is each season we're going to do a different book series, and I think we're really excited about the first book series we've chosen.
Yeah, huge
news, huge deal. You need to say it.
Oh my god, okay. We're just so excited. So, I don't know if you all remember The Clique by Lisi Harrison.
Lisi
Harrison.
Yeah, Lisi Harrison.
Oh my goodness. A classic series had the Argyle sort of plaid book covers, which is probably what drew all of us in.
Yeah, and it's the book series about 4 friends and then a new girl. And then they're just all rich and go to private school. And that's really the book.
That is the book. We will definitely give more context to it, but it's, the classic bitchy group of girls who are bullying this poor, really nice person.
Right? She's so nice. I think we should read the synopsis on the back of the book to give maybe listeners who haven't read the book at all.
Yeah.
Do you want to take the?
Yes, I would love to do that. Okay, so the first book is on the back. It says, "Meet the Clique." Massie Block with her glossy brunette bob and laser-whitened smile. Massie is the uncontested ruler of the clique and the rest of the social scene at Octavian Country Day School, an exclusive private girls' school in Westchester County, New York. Massie knows you'd give anything to be just like her. Dylan Marvel, Massie's second in command, who divides her time between sucking up to Massie and sucking down Atkins diet shakes.
What?
I did not read this.
I did not read the back of the book before we started this.
Oh god, I can't wait to get into these characters. Alicia Rivera, who I just realized in the beginning of the second book, that's the first time I saw that they listed that she was Spanish. As sneaky as she is beautiful, Alicia floats easily under adult radar because she seems so sweet. Would love to take Massie's throne one day. Just might. Kristen Gregory, she's smart, hardworking, and will insult you to tears faster than you can say my haircut isn't ugly. Maggie note, I think she might be a closeted lesbian. Enter Claire Lyons, the new girl from Florida in Keds and 2-year-old Gap overalls who's clearly not clique material. Unfortunately for her, Claire's family is staying in the guest house on Massie's family's huge estate while they look for a new home. Claire's future looks worse than a bad Prada knockoff, but with a little luck and a lot of scheming, Claire might just come up smelling like Chanel No. 19.
And something I like about this book synopsis is it doesn't tell us anything that happens in the book. It just tells us, here's who's in it.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you remember when you, first read the Clique book when you were, a young adult or teen or preteen?
It's so funny, because I thought that the boy in the first book is who Claire ends up being with, and all I remembered of him was he had a brown leather jacket, and he chewed purple Big League bubblegum.
I think that's the guy Massie ends up with, if I'm remembering correctly.
I'm so excited for that.
We're going to find out.
And I feel like that's when I should have probably realized that I was, queer non-binary. Because now I'm thinking about it, and in softball, I was always, chewing purple, Big League gum because of him. And I don't even think it's because I wanted to be with him.
It was because you wanted to be him.
Yes.
The only scene I remember from that book is the part where Alicia gets red paint on Claire's white jeans to make it look like she had her period, and then everybody throws tampons at her in the hallway. And rereading it, I was like, this wasn't as bad as I remember, but it's still pretty mean.
It's insane what a good sport Claire is.
Right? It's I think she's just I don't understand. Claire's entire thing is that she just wants to be friends with these people.
I know.
That's it? That's her only want as a character?
It is true, and she has, a friend who's actually good to her in this, and I'm prioritize.
But Lane likes oatmeal, and that's the worst thing about Lane.
Oh my god, insane. I can't even, preface going into the second book, because I've read 20 pages already today, and I'm this is...
We can't get there yet, that's next episode.
I know, should we lay out so far how the book proceeds?
Yeah, so we should talk about the...
I just farted.
That's okay, it might be on.
Oh my god, don't bully me like Dylan. I'm not fat like Dylan.
Okay, I do have to say, before we get into, like, the actual, like, plot, quote, I'm putting plot in air quotes, since this is an audio medium.
Yes.
Dylan's first line in this entire series and first book is, who's gonna tell me I look fat when I try on jeans?
Oh my god, I know, which is crazy.
What?
And then later on she gets upset that she is called fat, and I'm like, girl, pick a side.
Yeah, really, you can't have both.
You can't have both.
Okay, so the plot of this book kind of plays out like this. So first, Claire moves into the guest house in Westchester, New York, of Massie Block's family, who and their dads have went to college together.
Yes, and Massie is less than excited because it is Labor Day weekend, and Massie, Alicia, Dylan, and Kristen have planned a spa day together and a shop day together.
Yes.
And Dylan wants to be called fat.
Dylan wants someone to call her fat, but only in the first chapter, and then sometimes in the later chapters.
It is wild.
God.
She flip-flops.
But then Massie's parents keep trying to get her to include Claire in on things, and then Massie and her friends just spend most of the book bullying Claire, and then Kristen, for some reason, starts a lip gloss company for a school class.
I have to say, Homebody, the name that Dylan was proposing nonstop, I liked that more than the one that they went with.
Yeah, Glambition was not a good name for a homemade lip gloss brand. And then the book ends with a fundraiser. That's it. That's the book. That's everything that happens in the book.
It is true. So Massie has a little bit of a grudge because her mother, Kendra, is making her skip the Labor Day festivities to greet Claire and essentially become best friends because William, her dad, William's name?
I think his name's William, yeah.
Was best friends with Jay Lyons, who's Claire's dad, in college, and they're kind of like giving them a leg up because they are quote unquote poor.
Yeah. The amount of times Massie just calls them poor flat out is so mean.
It's so mean.
Oh, okay. And speaking of their money thing, something I wrote in my notes as I was reading this book, because yes, I did take notes because I wanted this to be a good podcast.
That is fair.
So here's the thing. We know that Kristen Gregory is on scholarship at OCD Preparatory School, which I didn't get the joke there when I was younger.
I did not either.
No, that it's like OCD is like obsessive compulsive disorder, but it's also the acronym for their school, which is Octavian Day Country School. But, so we know Kristen's on scholarship, and it's a secret that she's poor. But we know that Claire is poor, and her family can't afford to go on afford a house right now.
Yes.
But her parents are paying for her tuition at the school, because at no point do they say that Claire's also on scholarship.
That is true.
Isn't that...
Do we know the tuition of Octavian
Day Country School?
Day Country School?
I don't think it says. I just know in the school manual it says that fashion is a right or something.
Also, can we talk about their alumni? Their alumni includes like 2 presidents, 40 Oscar winners. I'm definitely paraphrasing.
Yeah, I don't think they said presidents, or they think this is like cabinet members or something. Because they can't say presidents because it's a girls' school, you know?
Oh, that is true.
They said like it includes like 4 Olympic gold medalists. 7 daytime talk show hosts or something like that.
Yeah, so OCD is like the cream of the crop in terms of private
schools.
schools.
Literally, at one point I wrote down, like, what the fuck is this school? Because, 1, there's no dress code, and also they, just introduced their new kiosk in the lobby for chai lattes.
Yeah, they have Starbucks.
Yeah.
Which is shocking, and I definitely love that. So...
Yeah, was your private school like that?
Honestly, no, but we did have these nasty burritos that were called Crispitos that kind of looked like vomit that people went crazy over.
That sounds like a not quite OCD school.
I know, not quite hip enough.
I think the big thing I also noticed was, like, there was a lot of just, like, this book is from 2004. There are so many outdated jokes in this book.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was, like, one where Massie compared William Block and Jay Lyons. She said, like, Jay Lyons has Donald Duck, and my dad is Donald Trump. And I was just like, wow, that joke reads so much differently in 2020.
Oh, my God. I know. It's crazy. It was so long ago. Wow. So, let's start back at the plot.
Yes.
So, after Labor Day, they're being forced to be friends, and it's the first day of school, and Claire does not want to go to school.
Absolutely not.
She is stressed from the brochure, how mean Massie is. Like, obviously, I would be too.
Yeah.
Shit. So, Massie is expecting Claire to ride on the bus for the, poor people, because that's what poor people do.
The poor people at the private school, that's what they do.
And Massie has a driver whose name is Isaac, who drives the Pretty Committee, which is Massie, Dylan, Alicia, and Kristen, to school every day. But the Range Rover is also, it's a limo.
Yeah.
It is straight up a limo. Also, they have, Perrier water bottles in there.
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't
They're
they?
rich.
I know.
The amount of name dropping in this book is also, it's just palpable. Everything has a brand listed to it.
I know. They talk about Hermes so much, and I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Oh, and my big thing was every time anybody's, wearing a shirt, it's always just a cashmere shirt. They said cashmere tank top a lot, and I didn't look this up, but I always thought, cashmere was, sweater material. So I was like, who's wearing a cashmere tank top?
Is it not sweater material?
I think it is. So I don't know if there's a different, a thin type of cashmere that would make a tank top.
I don't have authentic cashmere, but, when I have, a sweater from Target that I got in the winter, and that's what I imagine cashmere
right?
is.
I always imagine, white V-neck sweaters.
Okay, so they're wearing these tank tops that are actually sweaters.
Baby!
In the fall.
Let's call Lisi Harrison and ask her. I'm I noticed you wrote cashmere tank top multiple times. Is there a type of cashmere?
I also noticed you deleted your website. Can we follow up on that?
No, she has a different website, but she doesn't have the original website that the Are You a Massie or a Claire quiz is advertised on the back of the book.
Oh my god, I want to take that quiz.
I want to take it, but it's not there because she changed her website.
Wow.
It's rude. But going back, so Claire has to ride in this car with them, and these girls are brutal from the start.
Oh, yeah. Massie makes Claire hop in the back seat so, no one can even see her. She's like, I don't even want you to be seen. Go in the back. And then all of them pile in. Kristen's relatively nice, and by relatively nice, I mean she goes, who's that?
Yeah. And by relatively nice, we mean she draws attention to Claire slightly?
Yes, and the worst part of this is, at one point, is it Kristen who texts Massie?
Yeah, somebody texts Massie going, do we like her? And then Massie texts a thumbs down emoji, and then stretches her arm into, the back of the limo, half pretending, but mainly focusing so Claire can see it. So Claire can just see that everybody dislikes her.
Yeah, which, I guess is a power move.
Right.
It actually very much is a power move.
But it's unwarranted.
Oh, so
because the big issue with this book is there is just no reason that Massie's just in charge. They never say what the appeal to following Massie is.
No.
And there's also no reason to dislike Claire other than the fact that she wears Gap jeans and Keds.
All they say about Massie's likable traits prior to this is when she rides her horse Brownie to cool down and her A-cups are perfectly bouncing. That really stuck out to me.
I missed that.
Oh my god, she's
her A-cups are perfectly bouncing.
She's so happy her A-cups are bouncing.
Woof.
Whereas Alicia has ginormous boobs.
The boob comment I noticed when I was reading was when it talks about how Alicia crossed her arms over her chest like she had a shiver, and Massie just noticed it because she knew she'd do that. Alicia wants to hide her big chest, her big boobs. It didn't say chest, it said boobs.
Yeah.
Massie knew that Alicia wanted to hide her big boobs because she was nervous.
It is so weird, too, because, like I said, I was talking to Laura about this earlier. I was like, I had in mind when I was reading this in middle school that Alicia was, Mexican-American or, Spanish. And I feel like you genuinely, I was like, is it just because of the last name? And then not till the second book do they say that she's Spanish.
Yeah, see, I also knew that, but I think because I read so many of these books in, middle school.
Oh, no, I bet they're going to make a comparison to Massie's housekeeper and Alicia at some point.
Oh, I could see them do that, because our lovely listeners, literally page 1, right out the gate, one of the sentences written as is, here, hand me the book, I'm going to read it out loud.
Yeah, you have to.
Okay. Here we go. Page 1. I told you about this weeks ago, Kendra said. She spoke very slowly and enunciated every word in much the same way she talked to Inez, their live-in housekeeper.
First page. Right
First page. First page, second paragraph.
You could get a viral tweet just opening that book, being like, "You will not believe what I found," because that is insane.
And it's just like, wow, you know. And again, a lot of this book, you realize how dated it is.
Oh my god!
But that was something immediately. I was just like, yep, this book is from 2004.
It's so funny how much I projected onto this book, and my friends were never like this. No one would be like, "You have to call me fat."
I don't think anybody was ever like this.
Oh.
Like, even, like, the rich people in my public school weren't like this.
Yeah.
Like... and that was the big thing I wondered, where I was just kind of like, why were we so obsessed with these books when we were younger?
I don't know, and even now, I ripped through the first one in 2 days.
Exactly.
I'm obsessed with it.
Like, now it's like, I'm like, I don't like the way these are written, but, like, I want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think I hated them so much when I was younger. I was just kind of like, no.
I think what's fascinating with these, and I'm sure we'll find with other books that we've read, is I have such a clear image just hopping back of world building with these. I know exactly what the Block estate looks like in my head.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, and, like, oh my gosh, I was telling this, when I was reading this book, I was talking about it to the boy I'm dating, and I was like, you know, the main summary of this book, in just one line, is it just glorifies bullying your friends and justifies it.
And the fact that it was such a big deal.
And, like, they're just so toxic.
So toxic.
Oh my gosh.
We should categorize, speaking of toxic, Claire's first day at OCD.
Oh my gosh, we really have to talk about her first day at OCD. What a nightmare.
Her choice is wearing
white Gap jeans.
So you know that it's already, the author's setting her up for failure. We know what's going to happen.
Lisi really does Claire bad.
Yeah, so Claire does not have her school schedule, and Massie's like, you have to go, go to the kiosk and you swipe your ID and then they give it to you?
Something like that.
So she has little time to prepare on where her classes are.
Yeah.
And she ends up having an art class with a eccentric teacher named Vincent who hates tardiness. Oh
my god, speaking of Vincent, to interject, problematic with Vincent is, like, the first thing, like, when we meet him. So what happens is, it's like, Claire shows up late and has to sit next to Alicia, and Alicia's pissed because she was saving the seat for Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kristen shows up late, and Vincent threatens to cut off all of her hair for showing up late.
I know.
It's like, you can't talk to students like that.
I think it's just because I watched the pilot of Victorious recently, but he reminds me of the drama teacher in that.
I could see that.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's such a good comparison.
I know.
Now, if Vincent ever comes up again, I'm going to see him as the art teacher in Victorious.
Yeah. So Claire sits down next to Alicia, and they have 15 minutes to recreate this, like, still life of apples. Mm-hmm. Red apples. We should emphasize.
But also, okay, you cannot paint that much in 15 minutes.
No, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, because it's like, I took art all through school, and it's just like, that's not, you take 45 minutes and you, like, get, like, a tenth of the way done through your project.
Yeah.
Maybe less.
I don't know. Oh my god.
It's,
and then, SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs. Mm. That's when the big, this is the infamous period scene I remember so well.
Yeah.
And it's when, Alicia dumps red paint on Claire's pants, and then, Vincent dismisses her to the nurse's office, and Claire doesn't know what's going on, and nobody will tell her that it looks like she has her period.
And then to add icing onto the cake, Kristen lies about where the nurse's office is for no apparent reason.
So they can throw tampons at her.
Oh my god, that makes sense.
Okay, but then obviously when she gets to the nurse's office, this was one of my favorite parts of the book because it made no sense. The nurse just gives her a bunch of, like, old clothes that are worth hundreds of dollars that were in the Lost and Found.
That is so funny because that's the only part of this book that I empathize with. Was because, like, I went to private school and there was a hierarchy to clothes in my mind. It went Aeropostale is like Old Navy, lower class.
Yeah.
Gap, which is like lower middle class. I couldn't afford Gap. And then Hollister, and then Abercrombie was A-list. And there was so much Abercrombie and Hollister in the Lost and Found that I would just go digging every day.
That's so funny.
I wore this one Hollister shirt. It's in my 7th grade yearbook photo, and I thought I was the swaggiest person. I would wear it for a week straight.
Yeah. See, my parent family did a lot of American Eagle,
Mm-hmm.
because my mom always got coupons to American Eagle,
Oh.
but all my friends were Hollister, and I always wanted to wear Hollister, so I would just shop the sales, and I got, like, 2 shirts from them for, like, super clearance for, like, $10, so.
That's the one I was thinking of. It wasn't Gap. It was American Eagle.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
Oh.
Okay, but then also the big issue is, like, the nurse is like, yep, you have your period, and Claire goes, no, you don't, and she goes, yes, you do, I'm going to get you some pamphlets, and here's some clothes, and I'm like, you didn't hand her pads.
Pads. I know.
He was, what?
When was the first time that you used a tampon?
Oh my gosh, I was in college when I used a tampon for the first time.
I was like a senior in high school. I was so nervous to use one for so long.
Because my mom, she had tampons in our bathroom, but she didn't get her period anymore, so they were like old and they were cardboard.
Mm.
And you cannot learn how to use tampons with a cardboard tampon, and that's just what I learned. I learned that, obviously, when I started using normal tampons, but trying to use a cardboard tampon for the first time is impossible.
This is going to be really gross, but also really interesting. But like, obviously, I didn't want to be like isolated from events in the summer. So
Yeah.
one time we went to a water park an hour away. So I bled through, and I was like panicking. And I called my mom, and she was like, "Honestly, just go swimming." And I had bled through. The chlorine, there was no stain.
Well,
It soaked it up, which is so gross.
No, when you're when you're submerged in water, your flow stops. Isn't that weird?
Really?
Yeah.
I had a stain though too.
Oh, the stain cleared it up?
It cleared it up.
That's fascinating.
I know. It's actually really interesting.
All right, listeners, that's your first hot tip of this episode. If you have a period stain on your swimsuit, you can get in the water, the chlorine will clean it.
This is for our middle school listeners. We have answered your questions.
Okay, I think we need to jump to the Chris Abley plot line.
Oh my god, we
haven't even talked
to.
about Chris Abley at all.
Yes, so Chris Abley is this blonde-haired, blue-eyed god that Massie runs into on horseback, yes, riding, and immediately becomes infatuated with him. And he is a Briarwood boy, and the thing is...
And he's 14.
I thought he was a freshman. Oh, he probably
He's
is 14.
yeah.
And they're in 7th grade. I don't know if we've specified.
Oh, I thought they were in, like, 8th grade. Jesus.
They're in
Woof.
7th grade.
Damn.
Nightmare. And, yeah, Briarwood... there's like a boys' school and a girls' school.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal.
Yeah, and they don't really have like they like kind of flirt, but it's not like anything that's like super like romantic or like anything to get like excited about. It's just like kind of like they just like talk.
Yeah.
Like I feel like reading it, I wouldn't be like, oh, they're like. I remember reading it both times. I was like, I feel like they're not gonna like do anything. They just seem very friendly. Yeah.
Except for the fact Chris Abley buttons their hangout with saying, "I will see you for our next date."
Yeah.
To which Massie has a straight up heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's just like that's a normal thing to do when you say like, oh, like I'll see you next. Yeah. Like you free next week? It's a date.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what he did. And Massie took it the wrong way.
So that is our subplot B that we will definitely tie back to because Claire becomes friends with his sister.
Yep, Lane Abley, who's honestly, like, I think one of the most dimensional characters in this book, and gets shit on for no reason.
No reason.
Yeah.
She's so nice.
Like, Lane was, like, the person I feel like I, like, related to the most, because she's just, like, very normal and just, like, kind of, like, herself.
She seems cool.
Yeah.
She dresses cool.
Yeah, like, everything she, like, Lisi writes her in such, like, a negative tone, but it's, like, everything, like, that's being written, I'm like, I'd wear that. That sounds cool.
I know. I feel like she has, like, band t-shirt and, like, suspenders on over here, and I'm like, that's a cool person.
Yeah.
In middle school, too?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So Claire is trying to find people to sit with in the cafeteria and just, like, happens upon Lane and her friends.
And then Claire and Lane start to become friends, but then once Massie learns that Lane is Chris Abley's sister, Massie snatches her up. But then Claire plays her and starts to turn Massie against her friends and becomes friends with Dylan, Kristen, and Alicia. And that's the bulk of the book, is that,
yes,
like, the friend swap, and then Massie being mad at Claire, and Claire just trying to wedge her way into this clique.
Yes. And this is when we figure out all the gossip points, because I did love this part and visualizing this, because from 8:17 to, like, 8:26, was it?
Yeah.
Massie goes on, like, a 17-minute, essentially, walk with her dog Bean and her dad at night. So Claire will sneak into her bedroom and go on her instant messenger and just pretend to be her for like 3 nights.
Yeah, she did that for Claire. Yeah, pretended to be Massie on AIM for 3 nights in a row, and learned a lot of things and did a lot of damage in such a short amount of time.
Which is so telling of how not stable these friendships are. She could learn secrets in like a heartbeat.
A second, and it was nuts.
All she had to say was like, "Open up to me," and then they were so desperate for human connection.
Like, oh my god, I can't believe I told you that. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, I don't remember the first. Well, the first sort of ploy to get the ball rolling is Claire lets Dylan, Alicia, and Kristen know, okay, tomorrow we are all going to be wearing tights and shorts. So when they subsequently get in the Range Rover the next day, Massie feels like, why the fuck am I not wearing tights and shorts? Even though they're pretty ugly. I used to wear tights and shorts.
I never did.
Lisi got this part of it right, too. I gotta say.
She got that part of private school right.
One time I went to try to go buy alcohol in tights and shorts, and he clearly was, because I was like, oh my god, I'm like a freshman at Marquette. I'm so sorry, I'm back for like break, and I forgot my ID, and he literally just looked down.
That's so funny.
At my shorts and tights, and was like, I could call the police, but I'm not going to.
Well,
and I was like, damn it.
What you should do is, now that you're of age, you should just go buy alcohol like that to just kind of like prove like underage you that you can do it.
I have to balance the scales.
Exactly, you have to even it out. You have to be like, this is your redemption.
I can't even imagine that kind of a look, how heinous it would be.
And then the big twist is that Massie obviously is mean to Lane, so Chris kind of stops hanging out with her. And then the kind of the friends switch back. Massie like kind of convinces finds out that Claire was pretending to be her on AIM, and then Claire and Lane become friends again, kind of begrudgingly though.
Yeah,
they were both like, "You ditched me for Massie."
They seem to do it out of spite. And then the other thing too is everyone teams up on poor Lane for eating this protein oatmeal.
It was just it's like everybody like. Is mad that Lane eats oatmeal. Like, they're like, that's disgusting. But it's like, that's a pretty normal thing to eat. Mm-hmm. Like, I think if we were supposed to be disgusted by Lane, we should have had her eat something different.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what it would be, but, like, not... Like, if she was always eating, like, top ramen, I'd be like, that's a little weird. But, like, oatmeal's such a normal...
She's always eating top ramen.
Right? Could you imagine if she just always had a thermos of ramen and was, like, eating it? You'd be like, that's so much sodium. That's strange.
That one would be very bizarre.
What are other things? Like,
I also, like, can understand... I mean, listen, Massie fucking sucks. But Massie has severe abandonment issues. And then you see how fast they flip over to Claire. And I'm like, I could see that.
Yeah, and I feel like with Massie's, like, arc, like, Lisi tried to get her, like, to humanize her sometimes, because, like, suddenly she would just, like, feel bad for Claire, but it would come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then the next day she would just be mean to her again, and I was like, is there something wrong with Massie?
I know, like, Massie was super bipolar.
Is Massie bipolar?
They have a sleepover at some point, and she compares Claire to looking like a sad, lonely Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And then, there's only, like, 4 sleeping bags out, and Claire just, like, is like, that's fine, I'm going home. And Massie's like, sad.
You don't have to go. Claire's like, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm absolutely leaving.
I tried to tell a scary story and everyone booed me.
Yeah. Oh, something I thought about when I was on a walk today. Do we think the reason Claire is so obsessed with Massie and getting into this clique is because she's secretly in love with Massie?
I used to think that Claire was also a closeted lesbian. I used to think Kristen was, because at some point I think that she said... I don't think
Kristen dates anybody the entire series, does she?
I think that at some point, again, projecting probably for what I would become, but I think that they said Kristen was blonde and played sports. So I was like, oh, okay, Kristen's a lesbian.
You can't be blonde and play sports and like boys.
That would make sense on, like, why Claire is so obsessed with Massie.
Yeah, because it just feels like the thing that was so hard for me to grasp in this book was just, like, it made no sense why everybody was so obsessed with these people. And even, like, I think, like, Lisi Harrison tries to, like, you know, like, use these, like, glorifying words to explain how, like, ethereal these people are. But it's, like, at the end of the day, it still doesn't make sense.
It is true. Also, like, reading this in middle school and rereading it, I realized I projected so much of this onto, like, our popular girls.
Yeah.
And I was so obsessed with who I thought Massie was, like, up until my adulthood. And it wasn't, like, sexualized, and I think, like, I projected a lot of, like, the same, what I thought was, like, bullying, and I mean, she, like, was a bitch, onto it, but I think that there's, like, such a weird inherent obsession with, like, seeing people who, it just seems so easy for them, and you're like, I can't have that, and at such a young age, especially when she's, like, struggling, having a time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, man. And it's like, God, and, like, this book, it's just, the relationships are so toxic, and it's like, you know, the moment any of these girls go off to college, they're not going to be friends anymore.
No.
They can't be. These aren't friends forever.
Absolutely
they can't be.
not.
Okay. As we're wrapping this episode up, I have 2 things I want to do. I want us to tag ourselves as one of the characters in the book. One of the Clique members, I should say.
I'm sorry, they're all so...
They're all so unrelatable.
Like, obvious, I always empathize with Claire.
Yeah, it's like I feel like Claire is the most relatable one of those 5.
Yeah.
But maybe Dylan, because I like snacks, is...
I was also thinking either Dylan or Claire. Or Kristen. Kristen kind of is, like, so two-dimensional that I think I projected everything on her.
Kristen's just her only thing is she likes sports and is obsessed with her grades.
Yeah. So, in conclusion to the first series, it kind of ends where Massie figures out Chris Abley has a girlfriend, Fawn.
Yeah.
And dumps Lane because she's mad about it.
And then first, like, the last page is Massie just being really nice to Claire for some reason.
It is weird. They do, like, reconnect at a Octavian Country Day, whatever, fundraiser, and talk for, like, 3 hours because both of their dads are, like, drunk and weird on stage.
And their dads are drunk singing on stage, so they bond for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more question, and then we're going to do our State of the Union, which is what Massie Block does for 20 minutes every night to talk about, instead of a journal, she talks about things that are in and out, makes little lists. What's going to happen in the second book? What do we think? Because I really don't remember, like, the plot to this series.
No, I don't either. I am dying. I just want I always want a romantic plot, so that's what I'm hoping that the boy who chews Big League Gum comes in.
See, my hope for later, because I think I looked it up there, I think there's 12 books in this whole series. And I think I only read up to 8, and I hope that they get old enough to the point where we watch one of them have sex.
Well, they have their own books, too. I was reading in the beginning of the book today.
Oh, that's the summer collection.
Are we going to do that?
We can. We'll figure it out, listeners. Okay, let's do our State of the Union.
Okay, what is in and what is out?
All right, I'm going to say it. First thing that's in is podcasting. That's right. Y'all, we read it. Is in. And out is watching Netflix, because that's not where our podcast is.
Because that's not where you can give us attention.
Exactly. Thank you.
Exactly. The next in, we wrote down... Oh, duh. Coca-Cola. I don't know if you follow Meggie and Laura. You should be.
Yes.
Online, but every single season, and we're coming up on another one.
Oh, we love our Coca-Cola. I think our dream is to be sponsored by Coca-Cola at one point in our lives.
Because it is so refreshing.
And we love to share a Coke with the people we love.
And subsequently, since Coca-Cola is in, we can only say that Pepsi's
Pepsi's got to be out. I'm so sorry, Pepsi. I'm sure some people like you for some reason, but...
I do have to say, when a restaurant says that they only carry Pepsi products, I want to flip the table.
You should. Next time, you should see what happens.
I'll let the viewers know.
All right, and the last thing that is in is reading it, like this full book we read, and the 11 more we will.
Mm-hmm.
And what's out is skimming it. Because if we skimmed it, we wouldn't have such a lovely episode that we just had.
Oh no, we would not have the goody content that we just
that goody content that our new listeners want so badly.
Oh my god, we're gonna have to come up with a name for them.
Oh, a little fans or something?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll think about it. We have so many more episodes to think about it. But I think that's going to wrap it up for our first episode of We Read It. Again, my name is Laura Petro.
My name's Maggie Gates.
And you can follow us on social media at Meggie and Laura on pretty much every social media, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. And also make sure you're following the Social Podcast Network, which hosts We Read It. We're so happy to be a part of them. You can also listen to all of their other fun podcasts, like This Is Gonna Work, and a bunch of other ones that are so cool and just starting up as well. And
we will see you next time for the next book, Best Friends for Never.
Bye, everybody.